Welcome to another episode of the Old Terps podcast, brought to you by the good folks at New Amendment. Fellas, Reese, you can't participate in this opening conversation because you weren't there. Travis, one hell of a weekend. I mean, I'm just going to say it plain and simple, it was one hell of a weekend.
I think the only thing you could say about it is just it was special. It was special. We cherished the moments all weekend. The moments were cherished.
When Travis got home that night, I said, you make it home alive. Because you never, he skipped 2 flights. Guy might have skipped 3 for all I know. He was supposed to leave Saturday, said screw it. He left Sunday, was supposed to leave in the morning, left at night. So I just wanted to check in with the guy. All he responded, special. And that was it. We haven't talked since.
There's nothing else to say about it. It was special. There were things that needed to get done. From a basketball standpoint, from Illuminati standpoint, I went to the Bean. I paid $5 and got a professional photo shoot done. We'll get those on Instagram soon. Don't worry, people, it's on the way. It was just special. I had a flight on Saturday. I called United and I said, "Look, man, I'm not ready to leave.
United,
I'm not ready to leave."
You finally didn't fly Spirit Airlines?
Oh,
relax.
You know what's crazy? I can vouch. Reese is such a hater. I'd never seen Travis fly Spirit in my life.
What? You on Spirit, brother? Come on now.
I have the messages.
Let's be real. I have the
messages.
Post them. Post them onto the Instagram.
My bags fly free, brother. My bags fly free.
That's a Southwest. Hey, that's a Southwest promise, Reese. I don't know if you know much about it, Mr. Spirit Frontier himself.
The guys who know. Yeah, Reese is Alaska Airlines Frontier kind of guy. The little crop duster.
Everyone look out on Twitter. I'm going to find the messages. Trav talking about, I got delayed again because I flew Spirit. I'll find the messages.
It's crazy how lying in 2023, lying is in style. It's really it's crazy. The real pandemic here is lying.
Bro, and a lot of people are getting good at it. People are getting good at it.
It's scary, man. You got to watch out.
So for those who don't know, this weekend, Travis and I went to the Big Ten tournament, and it was an absolute blast. We had a couple events that we were able to be part of with not only the Old Terps podcast, but beyond the Big Ten as a whole. Evan and the entire crew hosted an event at Over Under Sports Bar with FanDuel Sports. It was unbelievable. There was, we had our own photo shoot, which people are saying I was best looking. I just had somebody that is helping us record this podcast that kind of runs the show here stated I was best looking guy in the entire building. So it was special. I'm glad that I was able to put on a show for the people. But then we had a live podcast, and we were able to kind of collaborate with different groups, different teams, different hosts, and kind of put our special little twist on things. Shout out Amir, for that, the special twist type stuff. You know what I'm saying? I'm excited though. So, Trav, you got anything else to add about the weekend?
Nah, it was cool all around. I think it was great to chop it up with the other pods. Just see what they were doing, get to meet them face to face. I think we have some special things that are gonna be planned in the coming weeks and months. Yeah, I mean, next year we're gonna do it again. We're gonna do it bigger, and I want to see some red and white and gold. We need some Terp fans in the building next year. But no, yeah, I don't think we could have asked for much more. Of a special weekend, and that's what this is about. We're the best. We're the best of the best.
I said it.
What else do you expect?
I said it a couple times actually over the weekend. I said, who would we be if we weren't us? We wouldn't be the best, that's for sure.
Couldn't tell you.
Or we wouldn't.
Not the best.
We wouldn't be the best. That's a. Look at bro. What are we doing here? This guy's.
Put your phone.
Hang on. Somebody give him a badge. This guy, Officer Reese, is trying to. If you're not watching on video, this guy just put his phone up to the computer. This guy's a police officer. What?
You asked why he hasn't said a word in 10 minutes because he's been scrolling through his messages back to 2018 looking for a Spirit Airlines ticket. It's disgusting.
It is disgusting. Just to make his man look
bad. On record. Yeah, just on record. I was called a liar. Just putting it out there.
So,
Reese scared of flying.
So, Travis, you and I went to the IU Maryland game. First off, Terps took care of Minnesota in the first round, which is big. You win a tournament game. It always means something. Minnesota was fighting for their lives. We've said it before. We'll say it again. Minnesota is drop dead terrible. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If you lose to them, Game over. Then we go play IU. Reese, I'm assuming you also watched that game. From your perspective, as you were watching it, what'd you kind of take away from that? Did you think the first game added a little confidence? Because we started out strong, but we kind of died down. Do you think that had anything to do with playing 2 games 2 days for the first time since November?
Yeah, I think it's a great point. I do think, like you said, Maryland was more comfortable in the beginning. You played a game in that gym, you shot in that gym, and then you're ready to go. I think, honestly, Minnesota, as we said, is really bad, so it was almost like a warm-up. You get a feel for the gym. You shot a free throw in the gym. You made shots in that gym. Helped early, but moving forward, I think maybe the guys were tired. I mean, we're not very deep. We don't sub a lot, so you got guys playing 2 games in 2 days and haven't done that since, high school. So I think guys were pretty tired. I do just think when it comes to tournament play, I think the better teams win, and honestly, IU looked better than we did that game.
I think in the postseason, sometimes we make things overcomplicated. I think a lot of these games and conference tournaments and the big dance, it simply comes down to who has the best player on the court. Like, who's the best player on the court? Who carries their team to win? And I don't think there was a question on that night. Trace Jackson-Davis was by far the best player on the court. He had, I think it was 24, 9, and 7, like 3 steals, 4 blocks. He just dominated the game. Juju got in foul trouble in the first half. Then in the second half, he picked up his 4th with, I think, maybe 10 minutes to go. And at that point, it was kind of just like, okay, we have to play small the rest of the game. He's probably going to feast. It was tough. It's tough to overcome a performance like that in the postseason, especially in a day where our best player, Jameer, didn't have his best game, right? He shot, I think it was 3 for 15 from the field. So tough day for him. We didn't get a great whistle again, and all of that, too much to overcome. Disappointing. I thought going in, I thought we were going to win. I thought we had what we needed to do to win, but, they have a first-team All-American, and he played like one.
Yeah. And another thing, too, that was an IU home game. Like,
crazy.
Dude,
crazy.
And I am not an IU guy. Everybody knows that. I hate IU. I hate the Hoosiers. I hate their fan base. But, dude, they had that place rocking. And, like, it wasn't, we had our own little corner, and then they had everything else. Literally everything else. Now, shout out Harvey Sanders for taking up 12 seats on court side. But besides that,
big dog,
dude, they had the whole place rocking.
I tell you what, I gotta give them their props. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that on a neutral floor in my life.
No, you have.
They were rocking.
You have.
Who?
DC.
Who?
When we were in DC, Maryland showed out in DC when we played at.
Okay, but that's
a true
like
home game. That was a true.
That's
home game
basically home game.
Yeah,
that's right down the street. For them to go, that's like what you know 4 hours maybe
from Bloomington. It's like 4.5 from home. From Indianapolis,
4.5.
It's 3.
Right, so definitely closer to Maryland, but still a trip, a travel. They were not only were they were like rocking the entire game. It was almost like, I don't know, it was scary the way they were acting. I've never seen anything like that from like basketball fans, college basketball fans like that. It was nuts.
Yeah. And it's pretty cool. And I actually think it does make a difference on those neutral sites when you feel like you have more fans and it makes it feel like a home game. My senior year in the Big Ten tournament, Drew, you were actually at the games. And then what happened was, first game, we beat Michigan State and we played Michigan, and Michigan was there. I think they won the conference that year. They're ranked first going in. We were 8th, and they had so many more fans. Yeah. And we were losing. We make a run, and you could barely hear our fans. And then when they were on their big runs and went up by about 10 to 15, the place was actually pretty loud. So I think that made it feel like it was their court, their game, and it was tough for us to really get any momentum.
Because we came out and we went up 7 at one point, either in the late first half or early second half. I think it was 34-41. And I remember thinking to myself, okay, we've got a little bit of momentum, but even on a neutral, I was still thinking to myself, they're still going to get 2 runs in the second half. And now it's either they make shots or they don't, but the fans are going to give them 2 big runs. And they took both of them. And then it also kind of accumulated when you have Juju, your center, in foul trouble. Especially when you have to rely on Juju. Like, I know Emilian's playing really well, but like, you need your best couple players out there in tournament play. And then you also need your best couple players to guard their best players. Trace was the best player on the floor, probably. I mean, not probably, 100% was. That could have been prevented if we had Julian Reese in there to make him work on the other end. You know, it's not just guarding, it's also him having to guard. Maybe that would have tired him out. Maybe it wouldn't have. But it definitely would have created a different dynamic than what we saw, in that second half when they made those 2 runs.
I think looking at the stats, I think the most surprising thing to me that I never would have thought was like, you think, okay, Trace Jackson Davis had a big game. They probably dominated the paint. And like, if you look at the stats, it doesn't look that way. Like, we were even on the glass. Free throws, they shot a couple more, but not that many more. We actually took 11 more shots in the game. It was just their quality of looks was a little bit better because they were running their offense through him. So when Juju got those fouls, everything was catch double. You got to go or else he's going to kill you. And when you double, obviously, that's just, you're scrambling, you're running, you're trying to close out on guys. It opens up the floor for everybody else. So I think that's a big point, which was like, Juju being on the court would help us a lot. And I think moving forward, like, looking ahead to West Virginia, looking ahead to hopefully a second-round game, like, we need him on the court as much as possible because we don't have a lot of depth at the 5 spot.
Yeah, 100%. So what do you guys think? What do you think that does for Maryland going into the tournament? Hang on, real fast. The refs were terrible that whole game. I'm just going to say that.
They're bad.
They were bad.
They're bad.
I ended up getting
bad.
escorted out of the arena. Not only was I a few beverages deep, but they were so bad that night. I mean, I was over on, because we were front row, so I ran over to the tunnel, and I mean, I was just digging in their ear, and the security guards had me by the hands, and were lifting. I mean, they almost got me full parallel going up the stairs.
Hold up, Drew, real quick. Tell Reese again where we were sitting, because I don't know if he knows anything about this, and Kevin, because he was asking the question last week of where we're gonna sit. So when we have this conversation, Drew, tell the people one more time where in the arena we, the 2 of us, and the boys were sitting.
Miss Loretta, I'm ready for the rest of the tour.
I'm ready for the rest of the tour.
Front row, Reese. You know how United Center is a hockey arena too? You know that floorboard?
I'm
that was
listening.
my table for my 17 beers that I drank throughout the game. I actually had the concession people, I handed them my ticket because I had an extra. I had so many tickets. I had one extra beside me. I handed it to the lady and I said, I want a beer every 5 minutes for the next 30 minutes. And then I want a beer every 30 seconds after that until I pass out. And you know what they did?
A lot of people forget we had a game ball in our hands the entirety of the second half. They were doing media timeouts, and we were doing dribbling workouts right there, courtside, dribbling workouts. We were getting the guys going. We were. I've never seen anything like that. It was almost like we were back on the bench where we belonged. That's how it felt.
I hate to admit this, but like what I just said was cap about the concession lady. She actually didn't bring me beers, but we did do dribbling workouts at media timeouts because we had the game leather. Reese,
listen, I got
what I like
evidence.
about that? It's shout out to the good folks at New Amendment, but now you 2 at Maryland. I don't think Drew's been back. I don't think Trav's been back. I don't think they know who you 2 are.
Hey, you know
anymore,
what's crazy?
if I'm being honest.
You know what's crazy?
If I'm being honest, have you been back, Drew? Have you been back?
I've been back once. I was on the big board so many times. I can't go back. They had me on the big board so often I couldn't go back. And then secondly, 2 months ago, I was like the trivia question for a whole week straight. And you know what's even crazier? You know how they describe me? Who was number 4? Who's the best number 4 that we know? Mr. Huerter. But guess how they described your boy? Number 4.
And to answer from my standpoint, Reese, not only am I former alum, player, scout team point guard of the year, I'm the broadcaster in the Xfinity Center. I walk in a suit and I do the game courtside. And I'm firing up the little student section. I'm walking up to the wall and I'm getting a yes. Can you say my name one more? Okay, thank you. Hey, welcome back. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Reese is the only guy I know who who can still like sit there with a slight smile on his face, and he had a backrest at Xfinity Center, and it was the wall. It was the back wall.
That's crazy.
People were sending me DMs.
I get tickets when I want.
People were, I'm so relevant at Maryland still. I was getting DMs about you. And the only reason people knew who you were was because you were wearing your jersey and game-worn shorts.
Oh, there. Not Pete.
This guy was acting like he was going out
unwashed. Unwashed.
Hey, I just sat up top with my buddies. That's all it was. Hey, I get tickets. I get tickets when I want.
Yeah, I'm sure.
No disrespect there.
All right, so
that's why Drew. I'm waiting for the next game Drew comes back to. I think he's banned from that gym. From that senior night, his shot. I think they banned him from Xfinity after that.
What? That I pulled from half
crazy.
court. Sorry.
That was
I forgot
NBA
about
3.
that.
NBA
I
3.
forgot about that.
This guy's talking about an NBA.
Hey, how about his boy? How about his boy talking about? Man, I don't even think that got to the paint.
We got to get the clip. We got to find the clip of that.
We'll find the clip.
We can run that back.
Leave that to me. Let me find the clip. These guys are acting like they were fucking All-Americans or some shit. Everybody was on the bench.
He's going to doctor the video. It's going to be CGI. He's going to edit the video, and it's going to be a splash, and the arena's going to go crazy.
Dude, I also cleared out an entire arena my freshman year with in Cancun from just absolutely slapping a triple home. So you guys can say what you want about that. But okay, the original question before I went off on a little tyrant. Oh, shit.
Whoa.
Mr. Huerter himself.
You just missed it. Hey, listen. 5 minutes before you got on the podcast, we had a guy, I'm not going to say any names. We had a guy claim himself as the best number 4 to walk through the doors in College Park in about 10 years. I'm not going to say who it was. Listen, don't shoot the messenger. We had a guy say he was the best. And the trivia at the game also said that. Listen, I'm not going to say who.
If we have anybody claiming anything, it's immediately Andrew. Andrew claims something new every week.
Hang on, real fast, and we won't discuss any further on this because we literally just talked about it for 15 minutes. Kev, and I hope whoever's editing this podcast, the good folks at New Amendment or in Riverside, they can put the clip in of Kevin asking the question, where are those tickets going to be? Where are you guys going to sit? You just missed it,
Please.
Kev. We were dead smack front row, and it felt
with game leather.
So good.
With game leather.
Your feet
we
on
need
the
to see it
floor?
in College Park, not in College Park. They're not even welcome back anymore.
Were you feet on
they
the
don't
floor?
know who these two guys
No,
are.
we weren't feet on
Our
the
feet
floor.
were about as close to the floor as you could be.
They also were
About as close as you
They
could
were
be.
also throwing the game ball to us at media timeouts. We don't need to get into all that again, though. We just talked about it.
That was actually funny. Drew, we had the basketball media timeout. Drew leaned over, whispered. He said, "You think if I shoot it, they'll kick me out?" And we all said, "Please don't shoot the basketball." Imagine a video of him getting escorted out of United Center after airmailing a 3 by 10 feet from the stands.
It would have been butter. It would have been bread. Kev, we're talking about now end of Big Ten tournament. What does that look like for guys? Like when you get done with the Big Ten tournament, immediately, are you dwelling on that game at all? If you're the coach, are you looking at film at all? Or are you going straight to, okay, Selection Sunday, let's find out who we're playing, and then let's go?
Yeah, no, let's be honest. The conference tournaments, those are the appetizers. Everyone is really looking forward to the NCAA tournament. I think if it's great to get as many games as you can out of your conference tournament, but at the end of the day, the true best teams are looking to make a run in the real tournament. And so if you're Maryland, hey, lose a game, it's not how you want to go out. Maybe you could have got a couple extra games Chicago, but I guarantee you immediately that night, the whole coaching staff had turned the page and it was on to what's our potential matchup look like in this. And as players too, I mean, Big Ten tournament is cool. It's a new energy, it's a new season, but the NCAA tournament's even cooler. Just a little bit different beast.
So let's just real quick go into it. I hate being the guy that says it, but that draw, that is not good. It's just not good. I mean, dude, West Virginia's way better than people think. First off, they probably, between Jameer and the white shooter, the Stevenson.
Yeah.
Between those two, man, I don't. Pretty much neck and neck of who's the best player. I don't know how we match up with them, just because they play fast, they get into your shit. They have a really quick point guard that's a good defender. Actually, was in the Big Ten for 3 years at Iowa, Joe Toussaint, and then they have really good shooters. So it's kind of a matchup nightmare on the point guard side. But then, do we match up okay everywhere else? I don't know who guards Stevenson. He's 6'6"? No, he's probably shorter than that. Probably 6'4"-ish with a clip.
What do you think, style of play? I think, how do you think our style of play, do you think West Virginia, it's similar? How much different is it? I think that was, for me, immediately the problem with the matchup that I saw, is this Maryland team, is we've talked about all year, their ability to pick up full court, to speed the game up, to junk it up a little bit, out-tough you, and that's how they've gotten a couple wins. That is all things West Virginia as a program is known for, that they've been doing for years. So right away, that was my red flag when seeing that matchup. So what do you guys think about that? I mean, these two similar styles of play going against each other, do you think that's advantage Maryland? Do you think that's disadvantage? West Virginia might not be used to it either. There's a lot of teams that, the old saying, you press a team that presses. They're usually not ready for it. I think it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Well, it's kind of like could Syracuse beat a team that 2-3s them? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't know if they know how to work against a team that 2-3s them. So just like you said, Kevin, that old saying rings true. I don't know how West Virginia will do, who's a notorious full court trapping press team, and they don't do it as much this year against a team that, kind of does soft presses and, 94 feet and then can get kind of junkyardy. I don't know how they'll react to it.
But it comes down also to the guard play. I mean, Toussaint, is he a fifth year? Is he a sixth year? Is he a senior, regular senior? He's old. He's experienced. If he can beat Maryland's press and it's not a problem, then the press almost becomes useless. Because we're saying how fast West Virginia plays, they're not like Purdue. They're not going to run a set every time. So when they get in the half court, it's just going to be, can you keep the guy in front of you? Can you keep them off the offensive glass? Can you stop? They have about 5 guys averaging double digits.
Bro, and they're big too.
Yeah,
tall.
they are.
Emmett, is it Emmett Matthews?
Emmett Matthews.
Man, he has not progressed as well as I thought he was going to over the years. But he's still 6'7", 6'8"-ish, I think. Stevenson's probably one of the best shooters maybe in the tournament. And he's that guy that if he can get hot, you're just in so much trouble. Because he's 6'4", he creates his own shot, but they run everything for him. So he's coming off triples, he's coming off doubles, they're running staggers. Everything is kind of motioned toward him. And then they're pretty physical. They have a good big. And they push the ball, so they're not worrying about starting their offense with 22 on the shot clock. They're just kind of going. They're running their sets and doing what they do.
West Virginia is such a difficult draw because it's like Kevin said. They pride themselves on everything we've been saying all year we need to do. Get out in transition, be tough, those things. And what West Virginia does well, that is so tough to prepare for in a short couple day stretch, right? What are they going to do? They're going to shoot a lot of threes. They're going to hit the offensive glass. They're going to be physical as hell on defense. They, contest everything at the rim. I think they're top 20 in block percentage, rebound percentage. They're going to foul you. They foul a lot, but they also get downhill and get to the foul line a lot. Those are tough things to prepare for, and especially we're coming from a Big Ten season where we haven't played a team like this in maybe this whole entire season, right? Somebody plays like this, we haven't seen this in a long, long time. That is a massive challenge and, a couple-day turnaround.
That's why I think, though, that's why it's so tough for the Big Ten to win tournaments. Because at some point, you just out-athlete somebody. Alabama is going to out-athlete us, plain and simple. If we beat West Virginia, I don't know how we can match up with them in one day. I mean, that's a one-day turnaround where Alabama's whole offense is shoot a three and go get it.
Drew is 1,000% right, because my senior year, we played UConn, won, 1 day break. The next day we play Alabama. We tried to totally switch how we play because you have to. We've never seen that all year. We're used to big guys. We're used to doubling. There's no doubling here. They all can shoot. We actually tried to stop helping, and that's what we did all year. Was you almost overhelp, make them kick. If you let Alabama drive and kick, it's a three in your face. And trust me, they took it to us in that. And it was hard for me to change principles all year. I'm trying to help. I overhelped one time, and a 6'8" guy shoots a three right over me. Bang, that's 3 points. And that's just a different style, as we're saying, in Maryland, and the Big Ten is not used to that.
People ask every year why the Big Ten struggles in the NCAA tournament, and I think Drew just said it. If you look down the list, we have West Virginia and Alabama probably going to get out athletic, whatever the word is. Michigan State is the one team that usually can kind of match up. Iowa's playing Auburn. They don't match up. Indiana, Kent State, they're going to struggle there a little bit with the guards. Penn State, Texas A&M, they're going to struggle. Illinois, Arkansas, they're going to struggle. Like, it is across the board, and we are not, absolved from that challenge. But at the same time, I think our guys will be up for the challenge. Everybody knows what West Virginia is and what they do. So I think mentally you go into that game thinking like we have to bring our A game in toughness.
And I think even for people listening, I think it's a lot harder to prepare for a team that's going to space you out, speed the game up, and just drive and kick, drive and attack, offensive rebound all game, than it is for an SEC school or a Big 12 school to, okay, now we have to prepare to slow the game down. Hey, we're going to go play Purdue. They're going to give the ball to Zach Edey every time down the court. Let's work on this double team. And other than that, let's stick to our style play. Let's try to play in transition. Let's space them out. Let's drive and kick. It's tough going the other way. And I think you're right. I think that's why the Big Ten has historically struggled when you get to this point, is just for that reason. Like these other conferences, they recruit different types of players, different athletes. They play a different brand of basketball that sometimes on these, for how quickly you play, it's tough to prepare for. And I think the same reigns true for a school like Syracuse. Syracuse for so long has had less talented teams go really far in the NCAA tournament just because it's so hard to prepare for a zone. And I think it's very similar when you go up against a team that, I'll say it again, that spaces the floor, plays with five guys on the perimeter, drive and kick, and it's just it becomes just a very up and down game. It's really tough to prepare for.
Dude, and you just said it. Syracuse is the perfect example. They run that zone not because Boeheim's he's a good zone guy. Yeah, he's probably a wizard at this point. But he did it so that you couldn't prepare for him with 1 day rest. Now, obviously, you have a couple, breaks in the tournament where you can prepare a little bit longer. But, bro, that's the type of zone that takes a really long time to prepare for. It is really tough to do that. So, Kevin, when you got done with the Big Ten tournament, let's say your freshman year. So let's say your freshman year, we lose to Northwestern in the Big Ten tournament. Immediately, it's right to Selection Sunday. And we're sitting there and we're, all fired up. We're all, Travis, Reese, myself, we're fired up. Because, again, we always say it, we have no pressure. Like, we are just going there. We are chilling. It is just straight fun. When you see the name of who gets drawn, what do you think? Is it immediate, like, okay, this is what I need to do? Who's my matchup? How do you progress over the next couple of days from Sunday to that Thursday game?
Yeah, right away, we know the whole NCAA tournament is about matchups. And so that's the first thing you're looking at. And I remember that year we were, I believe, a 6 seed.
6 and 11.
We were one of the last teams called.
Yeah.
And I remember
we were
the last game called.
We were not nervous at all going into it. We knew we were a tournament team. And all of a sudden it started to get down to the end there, and we were like looking around at each other like, bro, did we not get in? Like, how is that possible?
It was even scarier because Minnesota that same year I think got like a 5 seed, and we were like, we're better than them, but there were no 4 seeds left or 5 seeds when they started calling. So we're like, what the fuck's going on?
I don't care how safe you feel in your projection. Like, when you get to that last bracket in the last 3 games, you're shitting yourself because you're just like, did we really not make it? You never know.
Never know. And so, yeah, I think it's the truth of the matter is at the beginning of every season, your coach isn't talking about or rallying you to say, hey, let's go try to win a Big Ten championship this year. They might do that at non-Power 5 conferences because that's what gets you into the NCAA tournament. But Turge wasn't bringing in like, hey guys, our goal this year, let's make it to the semis of the Big Ten tournament. He's talking about the NCAA tournament.
Yep.
And so there is a refocus. That year we lose to Northwestern, I believe, first round. It wasn't a great loss. It didn't feel good. I think anytime you're going to the NCAA tournament, you want to feel like your team has momentum. You want to feel like your team is playing well. You need good, positive energy. You need everyone's confidence to be super high because of the stage that you're about to play on. You can't be doubting yourselves. And so right away, I think that was a red flag for us. But we'll go to this year's team. You win a game in the Big Ten tournament. You go up against, let's be honest, an IU team that was supposed to win that game, more talented, bigger, projected to be better. I thought we played pretty well, didn't come out to win. At the end of the day, those players are leaving there, and I guarantee you the next day it was like, okay, what's next? Who we got? Now we're in the real tournament. And this is the type of thing you prepare for. And I think it's funny. I remember a story, all of us were so close in our program at Maryland. Do you remember all our managers and GAs talking about how much preparation they had to do for the NCAA tournament?
Oh, yeah.
That I believe Turge had them pull. It was like 32 possible opponents that we had the opportunity to play. And the managers had to basically put together a scout for all 32. And so I guess in the Big Ten, for us, you lose first day. You get 2 or 3 days of 32 possibilities. And then you get select Sunday, and there's one. For us that year, it was Xavier. We thought it was a good matchup. A team that had kind of underachieved. Edmund Sumner at the time was hurt. So we were looking at that like, okay, great. If you're Maryland this year, hey, they lose on I think they lost on Friday. You feel decent about yourselves. We didn't end the season great. We win a game. We beat Minnesota. We should have beat. IU would have been a great win. But I really do think there's a refocus level just because of the stakes. And at the end of the day, you're playing to win the NCAA tournament, not play to win in the Big Ten tournament.
I have a question for you guys because I'm curious. Because I think that's something that goes overlooked is like, as a player, you're watching the selection, so you get picked. All you're caring about is, okay, we're in, what city we're going to, whatever, this and that, when do we play? As a staff, it's such a quick turnaround because the show was Sunday night, and then if you're Maryland, you left like today, this morning, because that's not even 48 hours. So if you're the staff, how do you kind of prepare the guys and get ready? Use West Virginia as an example, right? Like, how do you prepare your team to play? Are you changing your style up? If you're us, are you slowing the game down, which is something we haven't done all year? Like, how do you kind of approach that in a format where it's like, okay, quick turnaround, we can't do a normal regular scout?
I mean, real quick, it's showing them West Virginia film. We have never seen some of these guys might never watch a West Virginia game all year. So it's the quick showing them the film. As we mentioned, managers get it ready. You immediately cut those clips. You show them their highlights. You show them what moves they like to make. Then you show them the scouting report of who these guys are, how much they average, and what moves they like to do, just to start seeing West Virginia and thinking about beating West Virginia.
Yeah.
I think the identity of your team has gotten you here. So I don't think as a coach you go into it and you change everything. And you can't. You're not going to be successful. It took you 22 games or plus to build your team up to get to this point. So you can't change everything. Obviously, you can tweak your pick and roll coverage. You can run specific plays against whatever defensive scheme that they're running. There's little things you can make, but you don't completely switch up everything you've been doing all year.
Yeah, and I said it last week. You never want to change your identity for somebody else. Like, we did that a lot, I felt like, in Big Ten play when I was at Maryland, where we would change so often our principles because we thought it could help us win one game. I've never agreed with that. I always think you teach your principles to be able to adapt to each team. And then maybe once you have such a high identity, i.e. the press, they have to adapt to you. So I think that's one thing that'll be different with this team is I don't think we need to change our principles for anybody other than, maybe, hey, let's focus on boxing out a little bit more against Alabama, et cetera. But people are going to have to change their identity to play us because they have to prepare for the press. So in my opinion, no, you never change your identity unless you have to play against the zone, unless you have to change something about how you play.
That is something you just said. That remember we said this actually during the IU game. This was probably the most disappointing or surprising thing. We didn't press that game.
We didn't press.
We didn't press
at
that
all.
game till the very, because you said it like I think with 10 minutes to go in the second half, you were like, we're not pressing. I didn't even notice the whole game. We hadn't pressed once. So I guess building off of that, that's something you guys are saying off our identity. Like, what if we're going to win this game on Thursday? What do we need to lean into, and that's in our identity that's going to like kind of get us that win?
Yeah, I think our best players have to play well.
Yeah.
Jameer Young has to play really well. Hakeem Hart has to make shots. Dante Scott has to be great defensively, has to rebound. And Juju, again, I don't know if you guys touched on it. I thought Juju looked great in that Indiana game. I thought he competed. I thought he was a presence. He's going to have to be really good again. So it starts with that. Your best players win your games in March. And you got to be tough. Like, it's the stage is, you can feel it. Just like we talked about, the stage is different going from a league game to the Big Ten tournament. The stage is different. There's a different feel when you go to the NCAA tournament. You have to show up. You can't be scared of it. I think the way our style of play, honestly, like junking up games, pressing, usually that would be an advantage for us, because I think teams a lot of times can go in the NCAA tournament playing tight, playing passive, not being aggressive. And right, if you come out and you're like, hey, I'm picking you up 94 feet, I'm in your shit from the start of this game, I think that could take some teams by surprise. I'm hoping for an up and down game. It's going to be interesting to see if, hey, we lay the ball in and West Virginia picks up full court, and then they lay the ball in and we're picking them up full. Like, that's going to be,
It'll be sick.
It's going to be sick. It's going to be a track meet.
Yeah.
And then it's just going to be, and then those two styles play, it's going to come down to, hey, is Don Carey going to make some shots this game? Are we going to offensive rebound? Like, then it just goes to who wants it more, in my opinion.
And I love that it's the first game of the tournament, which is pretty awesome. But also the fact we're talking about two teams that are known to, well, now the new Maryland, known to press, known to get in your shit, just like West Virginia. And it's kind of like that 8 o'clock in the morning AAU game, the first of the day. You're barely stretched, and you just see guys guarding 94 feet. And that's what you're going to see. It's the start of the tournament. That first jump ball is the start of the 2023 NCAA tournament. And Maryland should be fired up to get the game going. Me too.
I'm fired up right just talking about it.
So one thing, too, that a lot of people might also not know is you only get so much court time when you get to the tournament. So it's not like you're going there and, hey, you've got 2.5 hours to practice on the court. You're going to practice 2 days in a row, and you'll be able to do things normally. Typically what you do is, who here could explain best how we kind of traveled and went through the NCAA tournament? Travis, try to give people what that morning feeling is. Our guys just left today. What did they do today? What was today like?
Yeah, so I think the game's early Thursday, so I assume they got there in good time. They're going to Birmingham, Alabama. I think today and tomorrow's Wednesday, you find some local high school, if there's a local college, some local gym, smaller gym, and you get a full normal practice in, which you do at home. So, going through the stretching, warming up, going through your stuff, maybe walking through a couple of their sets, just getting used to how they play. If you're the scout team, you're being told, okay, this is what West Virginia likes to do. This is what you guys need to do in practice. Trying to make things, I think, as normal as possible. And then you might do a walkthrough later tonight where you're in the hotel and you might walk through your own sets. If you have some new sets, you want to walk through those. You might do their stuff. Tomorrow will be, I think, very similar. Like you'll go to the gym. What we did is we went to the high school gym. We had our normal practice like the day before a game. And then we all got on the bus and we went to the venue, the court where the game's going to be at. I don't know what the gym is called in Alabama. And we had... it was really just like a shooting workout. So just time for guys to get shots up.
It's like for show.
Used
the
to
fans
the rims.
are there, right?
Exactly.
The fans get to watch.
Yeah.
It's like an open practice.
Yeah,
Hey,
it's
we're
a
gonna,
thing.
Media.
It's like NBA All-Star practice almost.
Yeah.
The way they do that, with like fans and media there. I was just enjoying the moment. It was sick. And then you go. I think that's the first moment where it was like, okay, this is the NCAA tournament. Like, you go to the locker room, has all your stuff on it, and there's media coming to the locker room, and there's, all the media and the fans out on the court. It's just different than it's been all year. I think that was a moment. And then on the way to the game, I don't know if y'all remember this, first game all year, we had a police escort.
Well,
we're on the highway.
Yeah.
with 2 police cars out in front of our team bus, and we had the fan bus behind us, and they're literally getting cars off the highway for us to get to the gym. And I think that just encapsulates kind of like, it's big time, fellas. This is the big show. This is not like rinky-dink high school AU. Like, hell yeah. I felt like I was Barack Obama. Like, the cars were getting out of the way for us to go to the game to play a basketball game. There's nothing else like it. I think up into to that point in your basketball career, there's nothing like it.
Well, and something you dream about too. Like, but it's also, everything about it is so different. They try to make everything so similar, and everybody walks around like everything is similar. But right when you get on that plane the first time, you also have the cheerleaders on the plane. You have more donors. You're on a bigger plane. You also have the band with you. So right away, you're just like, okay, this is one step further, one step further. You get off that plane, you're on the bus, you're going to wherever you need to go. There's media everywhere. There's so many fans in the hotels. There's multiple teams in the area, so you see other people's teams. Everybody kind of looks at you like, what are you guys going to do? So it's immediate pressure in my mind that, hey, you have to not only perform, but it's also that pressure of, fuck, I hope we don't go home, because this is sick.
You and Kev both said it. Like, as a staff, I think your job is to make everything as normal as possible, because you just said, like, everything is as different as it possibly could be. Like, it is impossible to ignore, like, what's going on, how big the moment is, et cetera, et cetera. But Kev said it, like, the teams that just go out there and say, F it, I really don't care, I'm here to hoop, and just go out there and play and take the big shots and get up in people's shits, like, that is who is going to win these games. Whoever does that better on Thursday is going to win the game. Who just rises up to the moment and says, I don't care about all that. I'm here to play basketball. Let's do this.
Yeah, absolutely.
March Madness is so incredible when every kid grows up, and that's what you wait for. I remember my parents would take me home early from school, and I'd sit in front of the TV from 12 until 8, until midnight, and watching all the games. And then when you're a part of it, it was and is the coolest week of sporting events, and it was in my life. It was just so cool, so much hype. And like we just mentioned, it's, you don't want to lose. It's lose or go home, and it's lose and your season's done. Lose and you never play with these guys again.
Yeah, it's over.
And I remember when we lost to LSU, how hurt we were, and Drew was a senior, and it was just how
that locker room,
upset.
brother?
Yes. And that was the last time we could play with Drew. Yeah.
You guys remember what that locker room look like? What did that locker room look like?
Bro,
just what was that like?
That locker room was a mess. Let me tell you. It was, dude, just a mess. It's, dude, all the emotions, like we're talking about, pours out. And Kevin, you referenced it earlier. It's really good to be a team that presses, because a lot of times these guys that you're playing against, or even yourself, a lot of people play not to lose rather than to play to win. And they get nervous. So that's where you typically see, and it's funny, actually, I was at the IU-Iowa game last week. Trey Galloway shot a 3 right in front of me, and that Samford kid from Iowa, who's brain dead, by the way, just unconscious shooter. Galloway shoots it short by a foot. And Sanford, and Kevin, you always said this, if you miss short, you're a pussy. Plain simple. You're a flat out, you're just a pussy. And I always remember, those first couple shots that people would take, you kind of saw who they were. Like almost immediately, like, okay, that guy's nervous. And he might work himself out of that nerve, but like right now, that guy's uptight. So I think the number one thing is you always have to remember you're playing the game to win, not to just not lose. So that was always huge. But again, like Travis just said, like you feel the weight of emotion at all times. When you lose, it's like you got shot in the fucking head.
It was crazy.
It
was like somebody died. That locker room felt. You would have thought somebody died in that locker room. The way it was, tears everywhere. I'm crying thinking about it.
That's still something to this day, though. Like when I was on the fence about leaving or coming back. Like I swear, the only thing. I don't say the only thing. One of the biggest things that for a reason for me coming back was, like Reese talked about, my whole life, the biggest deal was like watching the NCAA tournament, being a part of it. And it was something I was so excited for going to college. And I had one chance at it in 2 years. And the one chance was we lost.
Short.
I got a quick, hey, how's it going? See you later. And even to this day, it's like, something that I'll never truly experience the same way again as a player in that environment. And so that was like a major reason. And like Reese said, it lived up to the hype in every way. It was, it's something you dream about playing in. You get to watch on TV and all these players, and the one shining moment at the end, and then you're like playing. You're like, man, this is the coolest shit I've ever done. And to walk away from it too, that was like, for me to walk away from it, to choose not to be a part of that when I knew what the team was looking like coming back. Like that still to this day is like man, what if I had stayed?
Dude, I still have trouble. Like, and I hate saying this because I promise you I'm the biggest college basketball fan I think I know. Like, I watch every game. The NCAA tournament is tough for me to watch sometimes because I miss that feeling still. Like,
no, I swear.
Yes.
Like,
I
miss feeling.
Selection Sunday was sad.
I miss feeling the rush. Like, so say we lose on, I don't want to even put this in the air, but say you lose on that Thursday.
Don't say it.
You never, like, I promise you, not a single guy that loses on Thursday, Saturday, Friday, it doesn't matter when you lose, you will not watch the rest of the tournament.
You can't. It's over for you. It's done. You don't want to watch the NBA. You don't want to watch college basketball. I don't want to watch golf.
Just
I want to watch Netflix.
You turn into the biggest.
I don't want to watch
hater.
Netflix.
You turn into a hater.
It's tough.
Biggest hater.
Bro, that's why people are like, why are you hating so much on Twitter? Fuck. I can't get out of it.
You know what that feeling's like? You get home, you lose in the NCAA tournament, you get home, and you're waiting for that text that's like, the plan for tomorrow is treatment this time, practice this time, whatever. And you know that text isn't coming because the season's over, and you just feel empty inside. You just feel empty inside.
The next text is from Kyle Tarp telling you when spring workouts start. Like, Kyle,
which is even worse.
Kev, rethink back to the first when that ball went into the air against Xavier. Rethink what was. I know we just talked about a bunch of emotions and things like that. You remember at all what you were thinking during that time, or was it just once that ball went in the air? Is it really just another game? We talk about the before and how you can't really get out of that mindset. But when that ball is up, is it truly another game, or do you think about it during?
My first time, that freshman year, it was surreal, like being there, and it was because of how many, like, your whole life you grow up and you're watching it, and then that was your first time, like, damn, like I'm really a part of this. Like, the ball just went up, I'm playing in an NCAA tournament game, and I'm the favorite. Like, it was so awesome. I remember I was ready to run through a wall. The confidence was super high. And it was just so fun. Like, we were playing in Orlando. We had a great venue. I think we were getting on Nema the day before about going to Disney World. There was just like so much positive energy that just crashed and burned so fast in about 2 hours.
In one half, bro. In one half.
Dude, in one shot. It was one shot. It was one shot.
Trayvon blew it.
It was one shot. Somebody didn't switch, or somebody both switched, and he got a wide open three because he hadn't hit to that point. He made the shot, and he looked over to the bench and said something. I don't remember what he said.
He looked at me because I'm the biggest. So Trayvon, I grew up with Trayvon. So, bro, like we've been talking about, I just chirp everybody, and I'm in Trey's ear. I played him in high school, grew up with him, played AU with him. And he looked over and he said, sit the fuck down. And he said, enjoy the show. And he went off, and I still think about that to this day. I text him about it every March Madness, that he ruined my life.
Well, the best part, you talk about like not watching, it did feel a little bit better that they went on and made a run, because then we could have the argument to this day, it could have been us.
And we were going to beat
Florida State. We were going to win the next game. Like, are you shitting me?
They got hot.
They got hot.
Yeah, they did get hot.
And
I don't cry often. No, go ahead, Reese. I don't want to talk about this.
Sad boy.
Yeah. You talk.
Okay.
Nah, I don't cry. I'm gonna say now.
Travis does
I don't
not cry
cry
often.
I don't cry often. I really don't cry at all. Actually, I'm grown. I'm a grown man. But one shining moment brings tears in my eyes every year. And those 2 years, the years we lost the game, and to watch one shining moment, it's tears.
You know what's the best part about the game? When this play happened, I was like, we're winning. Like, we're winning this game. Do you remember it was first half? What happened?
J-Jack?
J-Jack,
Yes.
baby.
J-Jack.
Oh my God,
J-Jack.
yes.
J-Jack.
J-Jack dunked all over
Yes.
this dude in the first half. And J-Jack for us was like the wild card. Like if Justin was playing well that year, we were winning.
Oh,
if
George
Justin
to
wasn't
me,
playing
yeah.
well, it was like, where are we going to find offense? Like Justin was one of those, like when you lost him, like it was hard to pull him back in. But when he was fucking on and he was locked in, like Justin was one of the best players in the league. And I think he knew it. And so he dunked earlier in that game. And I'm like, yo, we're
There's
going
no
to chip,
way-
baby.
yeah.
We're Justin's on, yo. We're winning this
I thought we were
thing.
going to the Final Four. I thought we were going to the Final Four.
But it was, it sucks. It was, Melo could never get going that game. I think we had too many turnovers. They just had guys. I remember they had big men. Like I remember I think both of their guys, they had like a 4 and a 5, or maybe both their backup
that
and starting
white-
5 had like double doubles. That white guy.
Bro,
Killed us.
you know when I knew we were gonna lose, and it wasn't the shot, it wasn't Trey's shot. I was so bummed out. Do you guys remember the 30-second shot clock violation that they didn't call? Where I don't know if you guys remember that. They didn't call it. White guy gets
scored.
white, big guy gets the board, lays it in, and they just went on a little run. The very next possession, they did that little baseline out of bounds play where the guy
slip.
taps the head and it's just a quick throw right over Dion. And I remember thinking to myself, motherfucker, like we might lose this game because of like small things that we worked on or didn't get the benefit of the doubt. And it's crazy. Like I remember every play in that game, it feels like, because everything's magnified.
The two for me where they ran this press that was like it was like a 1-3-1 or something like that, and JP Mercure was up top and he got a steal, and I said, uh-oh. And then at the end of the game, y'all remember that slip screen play they ran?
Oh.
Where it was like a side ball screen and the first one slips it and the second one runs up to it and he slips it too and they threw it for a dunk, and I was just like, I don't know. I looked down the bench and I was like, my freshman year's over.
What do you guys think? So let's now pick where what do you guys think this Thursday? Who do you guys have? Maryland, West Virginia, and then real quick, give your Final Four prediction.
I'm taking the Terps. I'm not going to sit here on a Maryland podcast and talk about Maryland not winning that game. I think we beat West Virginia, and let's hit some shots against Alabama and see how it goes.
Trev?
I'm gonna ride with my guys till the end of time. I think we show up. I think we've shown up all year in big moments, and I think we get it done.
Reese?
Terps, if they're playing Thursday, Terps will play Saturday.
Agreed. Yeah, I completely agree. I think Maryland wins this game. I think our guard plays way too good with Jameer. I think Julian Reese has been playing too good. I think our style of play is also non-beneficial for a team like a Big 12 team that does go, kind of in a different direction. It'll be speed on speed, but I also think we're more physical because we're used to playing physical against Big 10. So I think we have best of both worlds in that matchup. So to me personally, I've got the Terps Thursday. We're the first game of the tournament. Everybody lock in. It's March. Everybody should be fired up. Best time of the year. I am unbelievably excited. We're going to be bringing you guys a podcast, win or lose, this Thursday. But in my opinion, we'll be dancing Saturday. This is another episode of the Old Terps podcast, brought to you by the good folks at New Amendment. Yeah, that's it. Anybody else got anything?
Shout out us.
Send us tweets, send us questions, all that. We're locked in this week, man. Tap in with
Shout out us.
Beyond the Big Ten is a network of podcasts that aims to be your go-to resource for all things Big Ten. We cover the entire conference with shows hosted by ex-players and athletic alumni, aiming to be your go-to source of information and entertainment for your favorite team. Hosted by ex-Big Ten players, media, and insiders, our podcasts are focused on giving diehard fans and those alums an inside scoop about the teams and people that make the Big Ten Conference one of the most watched and most talked about conferences in sports. We're excited to talk Big Ten basketball with you wherever you may be. Subscribe now.